everybody, welcome back to the channel. We got a great episode for you today. I've been getting a ton of comments about GT, when do I pH? How do I pH? You know, when do I add nutrients? How much of the nutrients do I add? How do I mix them into the container? What kind of water do I use? And today I thought we'd go over exactly that. That's what we're going to talk about today. So sit down, buckle up. Let's get today's episode started. But first, as you know, YouTube does not allow the C word channels to be monetized. Even saying the C word will get you your video demonetized. So if you're looking for a way to help out old GT, maybe support a creator that maybe brings some entertainment value to you, can help you, has helped your garden in any little bit possible. If you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find that link in the video description below. Also, if you'd like to see me mess with tarantulas and snakes and all kinds of cool stuff, I got a channel for that too. You can find the link to that in the video description below also. So please, if you could, give it a like, a follow, maybe leave a comment or two. If you want to do the same thing on this channel too, that'd be much appreciated. But anyway, let's get today's episode started. And always remember, focus, calm down, and relax, especially when it comes to nutrients, because it's not as hard as you think, and I'm going to show you right now. All right, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over some basic things that you're going to need to feed, and some of these aren't optional, but some of them, yeah, they can be optional. So the first thing you're going to need is your nutrients. We have our N, P, and K. We're actually missing the micro, but for the video purposes, pretend there's a third bottle sitting right there. If you're using GH, some of these bottles only have one. You can get all in one part. So we'll need that. We have our pH up and down. We have with this bottle, we just happen to be using mag sulfur since we're in flour. We have a milliliter pipette, or if you're making larger volumes of water, I do use this cup. If you needed 25 milliliters, instead of pulling this in and out, in and out, in and out, 5 at a time, I just pour it in this cup. You can see the milliliters there on the side, and take care of it that way. You are going to need a ppm pin and a pH pin. You can find ones like this that do both, and if you'd like to use the same equipment that GT uses, you can find it at welcometothegrowtent.com. We have some powdered stuff, since I wanted to show you guys both liquid and powder. What is this? How did these get here? Why is there a magical pair of sunglasses? It's weird. I haven't seen those before. I don't know what they're doing here on the table or even how they got here. What else do I need? Oh yeah, I'll be right back. I forgot to get the mycorrhizae. You guys hold on tight real quick. Let me go get it. Did somebody say it's time for flour? It's time to feed. I've been waiting for this for a while. It's not time to be calm or relax. We're giving all the nutrients. Woo! Yeah, baby. Just give it to them all. They'll get bigger. It'll all make your plants explode. Oh, yeah. That's how we do it. Let's go. Oh, no, sir. You get out of here. Woo! No more woos. Get out. We don't need that. You guys don't listen to him. Focus. Calm down. Relax. All right, who knows how much he put in this thing. So we're going to dump this out. We'll get a new bucket going, because whenever the answer in nutrients is never more, and it's more along the lines of barely what you need to get through, because we don't want to burn up the plants. So let's go get a new bottle. Let's go get a new bucket of water real quick. Luckily, we got a 400 gallon per day RO. It'll make me 5 gallons of water in about, 15, 20 minutes. So let's just speed it up and do another one real quick. All right, so we're back. Now, I'm going to put the camera up on the tripod so we can get this going, and we'll start checking, I'll show you how to check ppms, when you need to check ppms, when you need to check pH, how to do it, and then how to add the nutrients all in order, and let's get it going right now. Okay guys, so we're back. Now, a bunch of times I get questions on when do you check the pH? They're like, well, I need to check, I want to check it right at the beginning. And some people say that, and there's zero reason to check your pH right at the beginning. So right now we're at 5 point, let's just call it 9 pH. But why would we check it at the beginning? It serves zero purpose to check your pH until you've added everything that you were going to add to the mix. Because all these chemicals that are right here, they are going to change the pH. So we don't ever need to check the pH until we're done adding everything. That is when, if you have to use your pH up or down, you are going to adjust it. Because if you adjust it now, let's say you were trying to get it, for some reason you wanted it at 6.3. So you adjust your pH now. It does you zero good to adjust this water's pH right now, because that's going to change it, as I said. So you're like, okay, GT, what do we do first? Okay, so we're going to pretend that we are in, I don't know, week 4 flower, since we have the mag sulfur, which, if you don't know, the Botanicare suite. Right back here is the mag sulfur product. So we're going to pretend we're in week 4, since this is what we have out. You're like, okay, so now what do I do? All right, hold on real quick. I'm going to go get you a nutrient schedule that I happen to have laying around. I'll be right back, and we're going to check it. All right? So hold on.
Did he say nutrient schedule? Is that the words that came out of his mouth? I got a nutrient schedule for him. It's called all of it. That's what it's called. We give it all because we're in flower. Yeah.
Hey!
Oh, crap.
Oh. You no good mother. God. All right, let's start again. All right, we're back. We got some fresh water after old Ricky GT decided to ruin it for us with his more attitude. So we've got our fresh water. We're not checking pH, so remember that. We have our schedule here. If you notice, we're going to go right to week 4 because we don't feed these very often. So we can go ahead, since we do it on a feed, water, feed schedule, and the first F is always just the soil. So this is going to be these plants' first time of me ever giving them anything that has to do with liquid NPK. So I'm just going to go straight here to the schedule. It says I've got these first 3 right here, so this is the only part of the chart I'm paying attention to. So if you'll notice here on the left, I'm getting my box wet. That could sound bad out of context if we weren't talking here with a box that has water on it. Okay, so you see there it has micro, it has the GRO, and it has the BLOOM. So we can follow that straight across to the week that we are currently at. This schedule does not say that you are supposed to feed every week. This schedule says if you happen to be feeding this week, this is the numbers you use. So these are the 3 we're paying attention to, even though one we're going to have to pretend because we're technically out of micro. It's the very first time I've ever run out of a bottle of food, but it's mainly because I have 54 of these things now instead of 18. So we're going to go over to week 4 and then just go down. So this is per gallon. Well, I guess it would help if I would frame it. And so this is per gallon. So we're going to do, since we have 5 gallons of water here, we will just do 5 times 4, and then we will do 1 times 5, and then we will do 6 times 5. Now, if you only had 1 gallon of water, you wouldn't have to times it by anything. You would just do 4, 1, and 6. But since we have 5, we have to do multiples. So all we're going to do, instead of doing now if you're doing lower amounts, you won't need this cup like this, but I usually do 5 gallons at a time, so this thing can be handy. It doesn't matter what order you put this in. I don't care what order you put it in. I don't care what anybody says. The order that this goes in does not matter. So we're going to get, it said to do 1 milliliter per gallon of water. We have 5 gallons of water, so we are at 5 ml. We're going to spray that in there, start swirling it around. Remember to clean out your pipette. All right, nice and cleaned out. Also, always a good thing to remember. I think Ricky GT did a fine job shaking these all up for me earlier, so I didn't need to shake it up right there. But always remember to shake these because they will settle, and all the salts and stuff will start sinking to the bottom. The next, we're going to go up to the Flora Bloom, and for this, we're going to break out the cup because I don't really feel like getting 5 syringes full of 6 milliliters apiece. So I am going to measure. Yeah, we need a little bit more. All right, we're gonna put 30 in there, and then we're gonna wash our cup out. You're like, all right, GT, you're done adding the NPK. Do you need to check your pH now? No, I don't. I don't check my pH or ppm until I'm completely done. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my mag sulfur in here. This is a supplement, not a nutrient. And this says for week 4, we are going to do 8 milliliters per gallon. So what's 8 times 5? Now listen, GT is not great at math, but I'm pretty sure it's 40. So we're going to do 40 of this. Dump that in there. Remember to wash our cup out. Now it is very important, especially whenever, I just tried to put the lid on the measuring cup. It's very important when you're dealing with this stuff. You can ruin it really, really easy. You never, like I was doing with the grow earlier, you never, if I can find my pipette, you never want to put a pipette or anything into this bottle of sweet. This will start growing bacteria in it so freaking fast, it'll make your head spin. You'll ruin this entire bottle. And instead of like when we just poured that out and it was nice, clear, like golden, it'll start getting all this like chunky looking growing stuff in it, and it looks terrible. So never put this into here to get it out, because a couple weeks after you do that, you'll notice all this stuff starting to grow in it. I don't ever notice that problem with the GRO or the BLLOM, but with this stuff, and I don't notice it with the other bottle that you start with, or the CalMag, I don't notice it with that either. But with this one, it will turn on you so freaking fast, it's not even funny. All right, so we've added that stuff, and that's what we want to add as far as nutrients and supplements for this week. So we're gonna give that a nice another stir. Now we've got we're gonna add some. This happens to be a week where we give our mycorrhizae. We give it every other week. We like to use Great White here. We have great success with it. And this calls, let's see if I can find it here. All right, application, we're not in hydro, we're not in water system, we're in soil, so we go down to the soil chart. And it says for 5 gallons, or the amount of solution is 32 ounces. So we mix 1 tablespoon, this is a little tablespoon, per 2 gallons of water. So we would need 2.5 of these. Flatten it out because this stuff's expensive. So we got 2.5. You know, you don't have to be exact with it. You can't really give too much or too little of that stuff. And then I've had other people, they're like, hey, I can't get this stuff to all dissolve. This stuff will never all dissolve because it's, you know, this is a fungus. It has mass to it. It's not going to dissolve in your water, but it will start looking brown and murky like this. Now, a tip for whenever you're watering with this, in between whenever you go get your water and then you go pour it in plant, this stuff will constantly settle on the bottom of the 5-gallon pail. So what you'll end up with is not very much of it up here, and then when you get down to the bottom, you have all that dark stuff stuck on the bottom. So in between waterings, it's a good idea to stir this up. So you're not, you know, the last plants aren't the only ones that are getting, you know, those huge doses of mycorrhizae. Now it's time to bust out our ppm and pH pen. No, you stay over there. We don't need your help. So we've turned it on. This one will check temperature, which is fantastic when you're dealing with hydro. Soil, I don't really care. I've never used it with soil. And with this button right here, we got a power button, and then we've got ppm or TDS, and we've got pH. So right now, whenever we first come on there, it's in ppm mode. And if you look on there, it says times 10. So since it is times 10, because this meter will read up to 10,000, you always add a 0 to the back of them. So make sure if you have a ppm pen, and if it says times 10 on there, you know you need to add a 0. Because if I just put this in like this, right now it's saying there's 700 ppms. Well, if you didn't know to add that times 10 on the back, or you don't know if your pen needs you to add times 10 on the back, you would think, hey, I've only got 600, or I've only got 69 ppm in here. I got to add way more food. Don't do it, because that's really 690 ppm is what that is, since this is in a times 10 mode, because this pen will read all the way up to 10,000. So you have to add that 0 onto the back. And it's really good to know if you need to do that or not, because as you can see, it's the difference between thinking you have 70 ppms and thinking you have 700 ppms, which you do. So now just flip this over into pH mode. Since we've added everything we're going to add, now is the time to put it in pH mode. Now pH mode takes a little bit longer to get your reading. So you have to give it a, it's not like with the ppms, you put it in there, it's almost instant. With the pH, it takes longer. So we put a bunch of extra mycorrhizae in here, which always causes this to go low. And I know you guys like to have your pH between 6.3579, 650821, and 6.723125456. So I'm gonna show you guys how to raise it up and down, because we're not actually feeding with this water. So I'll show you how to raise it up and down, and I'll tell you some things you have to watch out for when you do that. So right now we're sitting at just a little bit over 5.0, which for most of you guys are going to say is really too low. If I was going to give these plants, I would have no problem putting this in the bucket. So we're going to raise it up. So we're going to get our pH up. These bottles are 3 years old, and they're about halfway empty. It's just not something I do a lot of unless I'm doing hydro stuff, because then you got to be a little bit more careful with it. So we're going to fill up this pipette. Now, the more water you have, the more of this, of course, it's going to take to raise it up. The less water you have, like if you're doing this in a bottle of water, a couple drips of this will take care of you. But the more water you have, it's just like a pool. The more water you have, the more of it you need. So the trick with this, guys, is do it slowly. Because if you roller coaster this, where you put a ton of pH up in it, and it goes way up over, let's say, 7, now you're going to have to put pH down in to go back down. The second you have to roller coaster the pH up and down, throw it out, start over. So, and it takes a couple minutes for this stuff to get in there and work. So let me stir this up for a minute. I'll do a little speed frame here to speed this up. All right. So now that that's done, we're going to recheck our pH again. And whenever, as I said, you're dealing with more water, this will take longer to do. But you can kind of get a feel for how much, like we used a full 5 milliliters, and it's slowly climbing. We've gone up about 2.5 points. It might go up a little bit higher, because remember, pH takes longer to read, so you don't just dunk it right in here and be like, oh, that's the number, because it will take longer to keep climbing, because it takes longer to figure out what the pH is. But we know we're trying to go up another whole point, so we know we can speed it up a little bit. But at the same time, remember, we don't want to roller coaster it, so we're going to give it another blast here, and then we're going to stir it in again. Speed this up, GT. Let's go. Okay, so now we're back. That was fun. My arm's tired. All right, so we're going up again, and after we added another 5 milliliters or so, we will probably see this go up about another 0.3 points on the pH scale. So last time we ended up somewhere around 3.5. We should end up somewhere around 5.7 this time. Now, once again, smaller water doesn't take nearly this amount. So as you can see, we're climbing right up here, and we're going to end up somewhere right around, right now we're at exactly 0.3 points higher. So that just means we got to do it again. Can you guys guess how much it's going to go up this time? So knowing what we know, instead of just doing it 1 and me stirring, we're going to add 2. Now, since we added 2 and not 1, what should we see it go up? You guys didn't know there was a math test today, did you? Bam! Got him! So we should see this go up around 0.7 pH is what we should get. And that should bring us right up into that 6.0 mark that you guys all love feeding at. Well, you can see as we're climbing right up here, heading towards 6.0. And we're only going to do this till we get to 6.0. But because, you guys get the point of it, right? I hope so. I've used more pH up and down, or more pH. I've used more pH up than I probably have in, 6 months today. So that brought us right up under. That brought us up right up under the 6.0 mark. Now let's say instead of getting to 6.0, you were like, no, dang it, I wanted to get to 5.8. Then you're gonna have to break out the pH down. The problem is if you were adding pH up to get there and you went up past it, and now you got to add this, you got to just dump this all out and start completely over. And then all you have to do, remember to turn off your ppm pin because the lava won't shut off automatically. And then all you got to do, give it to your plants nice and evenly. Water till runoff. If you don't know how to do that, you can find in one of my videos the correct way to water to true runoff. And I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Come hang out with us tonight on Twitch, GT Gaming. And remember to check out the Snake and Tarantula channel. All right, guys. Have a good one. GT! Out. Woo! You be quiet over there.